disappearing from hives first caught the attention of the media in 2005. The gradual decline of pollinators had been happening for quite some time, but this was something different, more catastrophic. I remember the day it first hit me, this mysterious die-off of my namesake, the Apis mellifera. It floored me. In the summer of 2008, my husband and I got our first 2 beehives, and I began painting in encaustics, or molten beeswax. This crisis of the colony spurned a collective wake-up call amongst artists, foodies, gardeners, and beekeepers. Within crisis lies the opportunity for greater appreciation, awareness, and refocus. By directly participating in beekeeping, we are engaging in this ancient and sacred art form. This symbiosis at its highest, and this collaboration between flowers and humans and insects. I'll just leave that. Okay, superorganism. Entomologists consider honeybee colonies superorganism. Individual bees perform functions to sustain the hive as a whole. A honeybee without a colony cannot survive for long. At the height of summer, a colony can contain between 40 to 60,000 bees. There's one queen, several thousand male bees, or drones, and the rest are worker bees, females. The queen stays in the hive and lays eggs all day, while the worker bee, living just a 6-week life in the summer, performs a different duty every week of her life. What could we as a community accomplish if we thought of ourselves more as a superorganism? Scientists believe that this evolution into a superorganism made possible a whole new level of complexity for the colony. The Alchemist. The last few weeks of her life, a worker bee spends as a forager. She goes from flower to flower, collecting nectar, and stores it in her honey stomach, where it mixes with enzymes. Upon returning to the hive, she gives it to another bee, where it is stored in a wax cell and evaporated into honey. Simultaneously, she collects pollen, too, and also brings it back to the hive for food. Inadvertently, she transfers pollen from flower to flower, hence pollination. The Alchemist, turning nectar into honey, lead into gold. As an artist and a teacher, I too feel that what I do is alchemy. As an artist, we take everyday objects and turn them into art. And as a teacher, we take our students' knowledge and try to turn it into passion. Winged Apothecary. Propolis is a sticky resin that it comes from the buds of some trees. It is sometimes called bee glue, and it has several purposes in the hive. The honeybees collect it and take it back, mix it with salivary secretions and wax flakes. It is used to reinforce the structure of the hive, patch holes, and also it helps to prevent the hive, prevent viral and bacterial infection. Honey and propolis are becoming more commonly used in wound and burn treatment because of their antibacterial qualities. The gifts of the hive have myriad health benefits for humans because honeybees are very hygienic, and honey is the only food that never spoils if harvested properly. If you are interested in fermenting honey, so were your ancestors. Mead is the oldest fermented beverage according to many sources. This elixir is made from honey, water, and wild yeasts. If the other gifts of the hive don't cure what's ailing you, this will certainly put a smile on your face. Honeycomb. Young bees are also involved in wax production. For certain days in their life, a worker bee can produce wax flakes from glands in her abdomen. It is white and odorless and will get its sweet smell and golden color from having honey and pollen stored in it. Given an open cavity, bees do what's called festooning. They link their legs together in order to measure the space to build their perfect grid of hexagons or honeycomb. This elegance and efficiency of space is something that we strive for in our homes and in our lives, which leads me to the hive, the home in the hive. If we can pay close enough attention, we could only hope to be as intuitive to our needs as the honeybee is to theirs. Reusing and repurposing spaces is a way to sustainably keep our landscapes aesthetic while making it more suitable to our needs. My husband and I set up our honey house in the former St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church in Greenland, Michigan. It was sitting vacant since 1995 until we became owners. The basement is where we spin our honey and make our hive products, while the upstairs has become a community gathering space, a hive, for sharing art, music, and stories. The potential is overwhelming, and as caretakers of this historic building, we feel an obligation to keep it sacred, shared, and a place of inspiration. Swarm. A swarm is a natural way of dividing a honeybee colony. It occurs when up to 60% of the population leaves the original location with the old queen. It is loud and chaotic and somewhat unsettling until you realize it is nature's way of making two from one. If you can hive the swarm, then you just have yourself a new honeybee colony. Divergent thinking has played an important part in my life. Sometimes when we try to continue to push outdated and outmoded methods of thinking, we hit a wall, and that's when you have to try a more radical approach. It's good to know when to swarm. Wintering. After the honey flow and the harvest, the hive begins to prepare itself for winter. The drones or male bees are kicked out of the hive, and the queen stops laying eggs, and therefore the population drops. They want to keep a large enough population to keep them warm through the winter months, but not so large that they'll burn through their honey stores too quickly. A healthy colony will ball around the queen, and they'll deliver honey through the population through the winter. The honeymoon is over, so to speak, and it's all about survival. This is a time of repose, quiet, and of dreaming of flowers. It is something that we Northerners have come to need, expect, and secretly love. We thrive in adversity. Spring. Survive and thrive. Will the hive survive? This is spring sometimes. And next comes the daunting task of assessing the hives for winter losses. A sense of guilt overcomes us when we find a deceased colony. Maybe the queen, maybe they didn't starve to death, but maybe the queen died and the colony lost its sense of purpose. Nevertheless, there are some hives that survive and thrive and come through stronger. Will produce a lot of honey, and they'll be bubbling over with bees in May. And we too can survive and thrive and come through stronger, having endured. You get what you give. Take care of the bees, and they'll take care of us. We can only hope that this humble gesture of ours, this keeping of the bees, will contribute to the overall honeybee health. And perhaps if we start looking at our communities and our lives more as superorganisms rather than individual entities, then perhaps our organic complexity will also emerge and our greater sense of purpose. If we begin seeing our daily efforts more as spinning gold like the Alchemist, then perhaps the rewards will be sweet. And if we can begin to see the relationships, the underlying web in nature and culture, then perhaps we'll make decisions based on a more sustainable future for our global environment and our collective culture. Thank you.